This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Apparition Scents, an outdoor and sporting goods company based in Dilliner, Pennsylvania. All of their scents developed and hand bottled with strict attention being paid to every detail. Contact them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionsense.com. 100% lethal or your money back guaranteed. Get a hold of them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionsense.com. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Tonight, we have special guest Davy Blessing from the NWTF. Davy is NWTF Regional Director for West Virginia and Southwestern Virginia, and he's been a part of the NWTF now for around 10 years. He's been in a director role there for about 5 years. So before that, he did a lot of volunteering and things like that and helped out with the banquets, and he's been a part of that for a good bit of time. Davy is from Withville, Virginia. So, Davy, with further ado, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, Michael. Glad to be on with you tonight.
Yeah, we're going to try to get this done again. We had some technical issues last night. We were just talking there a little bit ago, and we've got us a Rodecaster Pro that we've been trying to play around with, and we're just trying to get into it a little too quick. We have all the things to go with it, but we need to learn how to use it a little better. And we'll get there, but it's just going to take us a little bit. So we'll keep going the way we're going and the way we know right now and how we've been producing these. And they've been sounding good. And, a lot of people enjoys listening. So, we'll get right into it, Davy. You was in Beckley there last night for an NWTF meeting. Tell us a little bit about how that went.
Went real well. Met with that group. That chapter's been going on for around 20 years. Things are trending in the right direction that we want. Daryl Hypes, that's over that chapter. He's got a young man coming into it. Kind of involved with Daryl's family there. I won't get too deep into that, but Daryl's coaching him along, and what we're wanting to see in a lot of our chapters. We've got a lot of older volunteers over that way. It's been doing it for a while, and want to get some more young guys involved or folks involved, not necessarily guys, to breathe some new life into these chapters and, keep them going for another 20, 25 years. So the meeting went real well.
Yeah.
Real happy with everything going on over there.
Good deal. So for those people out there, most of the people that listen to our show is hunters, but there probably is some that don't hunt. So just to give people a little insight, what is the NWTF and what do they do for conservation and the heritage behind turkey hunting?
Well, as we had talked earlier, it's really rolled up pretty nice in our mission statement is, it's the conservation. Our mission statement is conservation of the wild turkey and preservation of our hunting heritage. Our conservation work is, funded through our banquet system. And, there's a couple other mechanisms out there, upper level giving, which we were talking about earlier as well. But, that's really the lifeblood. That's the big revenue stream is our banquet system. And then we're also able to, and when you get to the preservation of our hunting heritage, that's where we, dip into our outreach programs, our Jake's program for our kids. We have a Willing Sportsman outreach branch as well. That's for disabled folks. And one of the neat things about that particular outreach endeavor is, there's a lot of great organizations out there that does things with certain groups, but, it can be anybody that's older and, has some heart trouble and needs some help to folks that are, I've hunted in the past with a gentleman that was blind. I mean, we've got people that comes from all walks of life. That program's really unique. And then also our Women in the Outdoors program, to where we try to introduce women into the outdoors, through various means as well. So that's where that, preservation comes along. And then, we're also dealing with partners and other organizations and, through National Shooting Sports Foundation to, help protect our gun rights and, our right to bear arms and, keep families afield and things like that. So that's kind of it, in a 30,000 feet view right there of how we operate in this space.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's definitely a great organization that does a lot of great things for the outdoors and the habitat and different things like that of the turkeys. And, for, to keep us out there hunting them and to keep them around so we can hunt them, and enjoy them. We was talking there, I was on the Okayest Hunter. I called into their show while we were waiting to get on to this one. And they were talking, they had asked what we are going to be talking about this evening on our show. And we was telling them the NWTF and turkey season. We got turkey season coming up here in West Virginia. And, it's coming up in a lot of these eastern states. So he was mentioning Paul Campbell. Where is he out of again?
Now, Paul lives in Ohio. He's our director of development. Paul covers, I know, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia. We work with Paul. Like I said, he's what we call a director of development now. He works with us. We identify, upper level donors, people that want to sign, get in on these upper level memberships where they're, a life member of the NWTF. There's, different mechanisms you can do that. You can sign pledges, you can write a check, and then there's also, opportunities for 401k deferments. There's people that does legacy giving where they leave estates to us. And that's really what, Paul focuses on, is that upper level giving. And that's another major revenue stream for us. Something that we've kindly really dug in deep in probably the past 4 or 5 years and really started getting, I shouldn't say aggressive, but being more cognizant of it and, reaching out to those folks, whether it's corporations or individuals, to help further the mission.
Yeah, I mean, during the times that we're in now with COVID and things like that, I mean, you got to shift all kinds of different things around your marketing schemes and the way that you target your audiences and stuff like that. And, we were talking last night. So, what's some of the different ways now that you all target audiences and bring new members in and acquire them?
Well, that's one of the things is we've shifted, not a major shift, but we handle our banquets a little bit differently, the way we merchandise them, so that our volunteers that are that are involved, they've got a little bit more of input on a lot of the product we bring in. We still do a core package. It's a lot smaller, and we've got preferred vendors that we use that they can pick out items, they can build and customize their banquets, and go from there. Something else that we're trying to do is we're trying to capture every member that we can. And, if you come to an NWTF event, we want you to be a member of the organization, and also we're doing a better job of telling our story, as we talked last night, and, maybe on a sidebar, is a lot of people look at us as that we're just a turkey hunting club. And that is our base. It's not necessarily a turkey hunting club, but we are turkey hunters. But the thing that we need to highlight is that we can do what we do for the turkey benefits so many other species and benefits the habitat, on a greater landscape than just the turkey itself. And showing other people that are interested, things that we're doing, it benefits them, as well as it does us and the turkey and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So,
definitely.
That's one of the things that we're trying to focus on is, to kind of get outside of that base and show other folks, what we've got to offer for them and, what we're doing for, maybe their particular resource that they're passionate about.
Yeah. And you all have a big banquet here next, was it this Thursday night or is it next Thursday? It's this Thursday night here in Charleston, West Virginia at the Embassy Suites. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that. And
yeah, it's going to be another big one. That's one of the things that we're seeing right now coming out of COVID. Our banquets were doing great. We don't have the number that we had in the past, but as far as attendance is through the roof, this one could be this may be a record-setting one for that event. We're closing in on 400 people right now. To that event, which is great. To get that many like-minded individuals there, and having a good time with the auctions and the raffles and just everything, and being around fellow outdoorsmen. So
yeah, that's
we're
awesome.
looking to have a good time there on Thursday night.
Definitely. I love these different banquets and things. We've been to Ducks Unlimited ones, we've been to NWTF ones, and, we've been to a bunch of different banquets there for different organizations here in West Virginia. And, it's always a good time just to get together and hang out. And, you have good dinner and you have some door prizes and you have some live and silent auctions and things like that. But, man, just getting together is one of the things, and hearing the hunting stories from everybody, and what's going on in different parts of your state, or maybe another state that they came from. So it's really good to get together like that.
Oh yeah, they're loads of fun, like you said, to hear the stories, to meet other people, and there's a lot of long lasting friendships and things that's been built at these. And we were talking last night about how they almost become like family reunions. These people kind of become your extended family. You see them year in, year out, and you're talking, how'd your turkey season go? Where are you going? How did deer season go? So, I mean, it's, like I said, it's just icing on the cake. Everything else is going on. It's just great to see the people every year.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know, like, we was talking here earlier and last night about the NWTF Grand National Championship and the show that they have there, the convention in Nashville. And this year is a big year for the NWTF. This is going to be the 50th anniversary that the NWTF has been in operation, been in business since 1973. So tell us a little bit about how that banquet affects, as NWTF, because it's one of the biggest.
Yeah, national convention, it'll start next week. It'll get kicked off. There's a little event on Wednesday evening, to kind of welcome the people that get there a little bit early, but really going to kick off full swing Thursday in our we're calling it now the Wild Turkey Rendezvous. That'll be what kicks it off. The sports show will open up afterwards out of that. And, our biggest focus right now is we want to celebrate the achievements of our volunteers and the organization as a whole. And we want to take that energy and springboard into hopefully the next 50 years. As we said last night, arguably the wild turkey is the greatest conservation story that's ever been told. And, it was done by, our partnerships with DNRs and, whatever that organization or that agency may be called in your state. West Virginia's DNR, Virginia's DWR, our partnerships with them to put turkeys back on the landscape, and then just all the great things volunteers just did, raising money and do these outreach events. So, yeah, it's going to be one heck of a party. Got some great things coming out from Mossy Oak. They're going to be launching a few new products, and a lot of people does. So there's a lot of buzz about it this year.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great one. Like you were saying, they're bringing the population of the turkeys back in 1973 when you all was started as an organization. There was like 1.3 million wild turkeys in North America. And over the decades, since you all have been in operation, it's reached its highest point around 7 million turkeys. So that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, to think about not only the conservation story of the turkey, but when Tom Rogers founded this thing, it was incorporated up in Fredericksburg. And that's kind of where it got started, is he took money out of his own pocket to get this thing going with a handful of membership cards. And then, he got with some of those guys that really got it going. They ended up moving it to South Carolina. So, I mean, the organization from its beginning is as impressive as well to grow to what it has and been able to achieve what it did from just really humble beginnings.
Yeah, and, it was just looking at, the different success story things there on your all's website. It talks about 20 million acres of wildlife habitat and introducing over 100,000 people to the outdoors each year.
Yeah, I think those numbers, I think a lot of those came from that Save the Habitat, Save the Hunt initiative that we just wrapped up, 2 years ago. And most of those goals were achieved in about 8 years. I mean, it was, that was a massive undertaking, and it was a huge success. And, once again, it just speaks volumes for what our volunteers, what they'll get out there, and they put their heart and soul into it, and they believe in it, and, what they're able to achieve.
Yeah, and it's, there's some really big numbers there. I mean, you're talking about 22 plus million acres conserved or enhanced since 1973. over $500 million invested in this mission since 1973. And then 5.2 million acres conserved or enhanced since 2012. So that's pretty great numbers there.
Oh yeah, and and to keep that going, I apologize for not having all the numbers for you, but we've signed a massive management agreement with National Forest. It's record breaking in itself. I think that program's going to be about 20 years. It's amazing when you start talking about the sheer numbers. Just like you talked about there of what we've been able to do and what we'll continue to do.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing I was looking at here too, we have Jason Webb on here from time to time talking about different legal matters and different legislation and things that come up in the hunting industry and the outdoor world here in West Virginia. And he helps out in Ohio and sometimes in Kentucky and things. But, there's over 200 and some plus policies on here that have you all have influenced. The NWTF has either had some influence there in state and federal legislation.
Yeah, we're very active on, a national and on a local, state level. Basically, what a lot of times you're looking at policy is, for hunter rights. We want to do everything that we can to give every opportunity we can to the outdoorsmen, and not limit or handcuff them. And yeah, I mean, that's just another thing that, we do. And a lot of times it's through partnerships and things like that, once again goes back to that mission, preserving that hunting heritage.
Yep, definitely. And, it's like you said earlier, it's all to the volunteers and, the professionals in the staff that get these things done and make this possible. So we appreciate that. And thanks to all the volunteers out there that help out. And another one of the things we wanted to touch on tonight, we talked about some last night, but we wanted to touch on it a little more, is the outreach. So how is the outreach going, and what are some things that you can put out about that?
Yeah, the outreach is a big part of what we do. It's one of the things that a lot of local chapters can really make an impact in their community. We wish that we could do more things, habitat work and stuff like that. But obviously, when you start talking about, federal or state lands, you're talking about liabilities and things like that we just can't, turn people loose on equipment on out there. But those outreach programs, that is really where you can make a big difference, in your community. Because of, the chapter system and things like that, we've got a lot of people that's looking for help and things like that. We're probably just a little bit behind on outreach in the state of West Virginia, and a lot of it's just due to help. But we've got a lot of great Jake's events going on in the state. Jake's is our youth program. It's Juniors Acquiring Knowledge, Ethics, and Skills is what Jake's actually stands for. And they'll range anywhere from, somebody stocking trout in a pond and letting the kids fish and giving them an opportunity to do that to, youth hunts, or these multi-station events to where they can shoot air guns or maybe skeet shoot and learn to fly cast. They're as small or as big as, a committee can make them. And the thing of it is, I got to steal Doug Duran's line. If anybody's ever heard him from Meat Eater fame, Doug's got a tagline. It's not ours. It's just our turn. And, that's the one thing is when you're doing stuff with organizations like us, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the future. And then you look at our Willing Sportsman program that I mentioned earlier, giving disabled folks outdoor opportunities. And then, our Women in the Outdoors program to introduce ladies to the outdoors, whether it be in, target shooting or hunting or, other outdoor activities. So, you can get the family involved. All those things are direct impacts in your local community and getting more people involved in the outdoors.
Yep, definitely. Well, one of the things that we like to do here on our podcast is our Salute to Valor. So our Salute to Valor this evening is going to be Robert E. Lee Stewart. He was born in Toledo, Ohio. He served in the U.S. Army. He served from 1969 to 1972, and he was based out of Chu Chi, Vietnam, and Cambodia. He had 1 tour to Vietnam and 2 tours to Cambodia. His medals awarded was a BSM with a V device and oak leaf cluster, ARCOM with a V device and an oak leaf cluster. He was a Purple Heart recipient, Combat Infantryman badge, and inductee into the Ohio Military Hall of Fame for Valor, number 160, class of 2009. So thank you, Robert E. Lee Stewart, for your service, sir, and we appreciate your service and your sacrifices to this great country. He was honorably discharged January 4th of 1972. So if it wasn't for those men and women doing that and, being away from their families and sacrificing, their lives for us and our freedoms, we couldn't do what we do today, and the NWTF wouldn't be an organization, matter of fact.
That's exactly right. As we said last night, we always, every year we do a commemorative pin for our veterans. Our frontline freedom is what we call that pin, because exactly like you said right there, if it wasn't for the sacrifices those men and women were willing to make, we wouldn't have the rights and freedoms that we do, and we definitely wouldn't have guns or anything else in this country. So, yeah, thank you to all those men and women that's either served or is serving.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's get back into the outreach program there. So you were talking a little bit about the Jakes program. One of the things that I like about the Jakes program is, obviously the focus is turkey and turkey hunting, but that's not the primary focus. Like you were saying, they take them fishing and they teach them knowledge in the outdoors and different things like that. So it's really good all the way around for, creating and raising up an outdoorsman or a sportsman or a sportswoman, however you want to call it.
Oh yeah, that there's so much knowledge that these kids, can take into it. One of the hot button issues is, these gun, situations that we unfortunately face in this country. But, the thing of it is education goes so far, if we teach them how to handle a firearm or, give them outdoor skills and things like that, it's something that they can carry on and, makes them safer individuals and, also creates an interest in the outdoors. And sometimes, maybe they don't choose a path to carry on being a hunter or a fisherman, but they at least understand, the inner workings of it and why we do what we do. So, like I said, they may not choose to participate later on in life, but they are somebody that, understands our core values and, won't necessarily be against it, what we choose. And so, that's another thing, laying that foundation out for those kids. And then some of them, will carry on to be, outdoorsmen in whatever walk that they choose. So, yeah, it's a really great program. And, one of the things too is there's some of these kids that, without these programs, they wouldn't have an opportunity to get out and experience the outdoors or, get that enjoyment. So, yeah, there's so many, facets of it that, it's a really neat program, and it's became one of our cornerstones now, along with our other outreach programs.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you were talking about herd management. Was you saying something about herd management there, or did I miss that?
It may have been where I was talking about the fact that even though they choose maybe not to become, they may not want to continue on the path of being a hunter or fisherman, but they at least understand, the management practices and why we do what we do as far as outdoors people, that
Yeah,
at least,
yeah.
they may not choose that path later on in their life, but they understand what we're doing. So it's not a voice that we're fighting against. They at least appreciate it. They have an appreciation that they may have not had if they wouldn't have experienced one of those programs.
Yes, that's what you was mentioning there about, with kids in the outdoors and the Jakes program, it not being focused just on turkeys, but they'll take kids fishing and things like that and just kind of give them a general knowledge of the outdoors and things. And so when it talks about herd management, a lot of people don't realize how big of an issue herd management is and how important it is for us to hunt. I mean, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's part of the, that North American model of wildlife conservation. And, we know it because we grew up around it. If we didn't, have methods of take out there, how devastating it could be on the population, with human, to animal, conflicts, whether it be deer eating your flower beds or whatever, that, that the management is in the people's hands. So, like I said, that's one of the things that they get to understand is, why it's all an integral piece. And, so we have those resources that we can all enjoy, no matter how we choose to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be turkeys or deer or anything like that. I mean, it's everything. So it helps maintain the populations at levels, capable with human activity and land use and available habitat and different things like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things too with us having, the ability to hunt in this country is, there's management practices, but, let's just face it, we're outdoors people, and, it's those methods out there, they're wasteful. People don't get that opportunity to enjoy that resource or, take that meat home for their family or, whatever they choose to do with it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, there's just so much more to it. And, a lot of people, especially on the outside looking in, just don't understand the importance of our way of life.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, I follow a lot of deer and deerhunting.com. They do a lot of blogs and things like that, and they have a lot of articles on there. And Ted Nugent had recently done one. Well, it wasn't recently, but it was back in 2019 about herd management 101. So if you get a chance, go back and read that there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but he talks basically about what we were just saying and gives a little more in depth about it. So, it's the doe management when it comes to deer is crucial. So let's go back and we talked about this last night. We talked about it a little bit before the podcast this evening. The logo change. So, I was talking last night. I was like, man, I didn't like the logo change when it first started. And when it first came out, because I didn't really know what it meant, what was behind it. I didn't know the history behind it. But tell us a little bit about the logo change and the history behind that.
Well, as we discussed a little bit last night on that logo change, and kind of to give a little bit of backstory on it, because I think there's still some people a little bit confused on it. Where we're looking at the 50th and looking for 50 years down the road, we're started looking at ways to to bring a new generation in. And so we brought in a marketing firm in 2019, and the timing got a little bad. We budgeted that money in 2019 and we started rolling things out in 2020. And a lot of people's like, man, we're in the middle of a pandemic and you guys are changing logos and everything else. But, that stuff was already budgeted, beforehand. And, COVID just, like a lot of things, it kind of, caught us off guard. But it was just trying to give a fresh look to the NWTF. I remember the original one and then the 3 walking turkeys. And, we done some test audiences and things like that. And it really resonated with, the 50 and younger crowd. Or hoping that it was a little bit more identifiable for a lot of folks, the outside looking in. You and I know, we always remember that 3 walking turkeys, especially because it was kind of when NWTF really got mainstream. But there were some people on the outside, that didn't necessarily know what those 3 birds were. And, this new logo, it drew some inspiration for some petroglyphs that somebody had come across down in the Southwest, in some of those native drawings. And, there's a lot of things that you can break it apart. The feathers on the back, I'm actually sitting here looking at it. A lot of folks have looked and, they're also saying that those are arrows pointing to the bird, which is, the foundation of this organization. And it's been out for about 2 years now. We're still calling it the new logo, and it works a little bit better for product placement and things like that. And it's just like with everything, you're always trying to find ways to make yourself relevant. And we, the older folks, they've struggled with it a little bit, but the younger crowd, they seem to be grabbing a hold of it. And when you start seeing it on merchandise and in different places, it fits, it works really well. And another thing is, it's a lot more marketable. Let's just think of it as the Browning buck mark. You think about that logo on a shotgun shell or, embedded in your camo and this and that. And, that's the one thing too, is we're outdoorsmen and, we stick to our traditions. We're brand loyal and things like that. So change is hard, But, in a few years down the road, it's going to become the new norm, and, everybody's going to just keep moving on. And as I told a lot of folks, when it came out, hey, it's the wrapper on the jar is a little bit different, but the sauce inside's still the same. That was one of the
Yeah.
things a lot of people said, don't even really want to say it, but I will. This day and time, a lot of the stuff that you change, everybody, they want to bring politics in. And it didn't have anything to do with that. Some people's like, well, did the mission change? Absolutely not. The mission didn't change.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different, fresher wrapper to put on it. And, hopefully to get some more people involved. We'll see how it all goes.
Yeah, and it's just sometimes organizations and companies go through those changes and need to do that. But it's not just the company and organizations, it's the world we're living in now. If we want to keep these organizations going, we have to be moving with the target audience, and you have to be drawing those new members in. So if it takes that, then that's so be it.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Like I said, you got to stay fresh. You got to stay relevant. And, the world we live in, it's a whole lot faster paced than what it used to be. And, you just got to, like I said, keep moving with the times. And, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. It's just a little bit fresher look.
Yep. So do you have any good spots this year that you can have me down so we can turkey hunt?
Well, I tell you what, I've probably got a handful of spots. I'm probably not going to divulge them on a podcast, but, you and I talk a little bit there.
Yeah. No, we can't give up good hunting spots. But so what's your plans this spring?
Well, now that's the unfortunate side of being a regional director is, our spring's pretty jam-packed. There's a lot of people want to have banquets and everything else. I will probably hunt around. Well, obviously, I'm going to hunt in Virginia. I'm going to try to make my way up into West Virginia and probably down to North Carolina. Would like to travel a little bit, but just the way the banquets and stuff are set up, it's really hard to get out. It's turkey countdown in Florida, and I'd love to be one of those guys, start in Florida and work my way up north. But that's the downside of the job. We're all around turkeys, but during turkey season, we stay pretty busy. So, I'll be hunting close to the house.
Yep, I hear you. There's people that talk to me and ask me all the time, I turkey hunted a lot when I was a kid and when my brother was still around. But now that it's just me doing this business and, my wife helps out and the kids and things like that, and have a couple guys here, the co-hosts of the show, Dan Hall, he helps me out a pretty good bit. But, during turkey season, when you own a game call company, you really don't get to turkey hunt that much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody wants to get, in this industry one way or the other. And like you said, when you get in it, whether it's on, like me on the conservation fundraising side, or like you said, Nicole, making businesses, your busy time is when everybody else is in the woods. So, it's good for business,
Yep.
but you don't get much time for yourself. We do what we can to make time when we can find it.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I'm telling you. But so you got some good places there in mind. You said West Virginia possibly, and definitely there in Virginia and North Carolina.
Yeah, I've got my old stomping grounds in Virginia and, making some connections up in West Virginia. I had a guy tell me that we needed to start planning some later April and early May events, in West Virginia, so we can come up there and hunt a little bit before we get going with one. So might have to take him up on that offer.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd get together and maybe do some trout fishing there during that time too.
Hey, that's one great thing about turkey hunting that a lot of people don't realize is the way, especially Virginia and West Virginia season is you hunt in the morning and fish in the evening.
Yeah, you got to be out of the woods by 1.
So, there's nothing like it. You know it, I know it, a lot of people here, but I'm just going to tell you, if you've never been turkey hunting, find somebody to take you. And the guy that really got me involved with it, give me a tape of Ben Lee, and I'll never forget one of these words that Ben Lee said. He said, a man gets into turkey hunting, he said, he better have a good job and a good woman, because if he ain't careful, he'll lose them both.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Oh, I tell you, that's one thing about my brother. He was passionate about turkey hunting, man. And that's the whole reason and the story behind Nature's Voice game calls is the time and the effort that he spent in the woods, just learning the habitat and the sounds and the different things that turkeys do. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, that's it. That was his love. That was his passion. So let's talk a little bit more about outreach here and the ending part of it. We was talking earlier how the outreach goes and how you all do that, but just give some people some information about how they can get a hold of a chapter or become a volunteer and get in and help with NWTF at some of these banquets and things. Oh my goodness, I tell you. So we just got kicked off for like the 5th time. And here I'm sending Davy a message on Facebook, and I was trying to send him the oh no, gif like rolling eyes or something because we got kicked off again. And I sent him this big picture with a bunch of flowers and said, "Have a nice day" or something like that. I was like, well, don't know where that came from.
Hey man, it's like a turkey hunt. You never know what you're going to get.
Buddy, I tell you. This is what we get for trying to start with some new equipment last night, but it's got us all out of whack. So, go ahead.
I said it's all good.
So we'll finish up now, and we'll go into just briefly talking about the outreach and things like that. You talked earlier about how, the outreach is and things. So just give people some information on where they can get a hold of a chapter and who they need to get a hold of to help out at some of these NWTF banquets and things like that. I mean, you guys are needing volunteers and the bounce back from COVID and things like that. You guys are needing boots on the ground and hands on. So,
yeah, one of the things, if folks want to get involved with the NWTF, one of the first things they can do is like and follow the West Virginia State Facebook page. I'm accessible from there. You can look up NWTF.org. It'll bring up local events in your area. I'm the point of contact. This is what I do as a staff member. Reach out to me through Facebook. You can find my contact information there. We'll put you in touch with a chapter leader if you're interested in getting involved or coming to an event. A lot of information there, and to figure out who we need to talk to get you in place to help us carry this banner on.
Yep. Well, we sure appreciate you being on this evening, Davy, and sorry for the technical problems there. I feel like we're back to square one with some of the things that we dealt with, but it is what it is. And
hey, it's not a problem whatsoever. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I know it's a little painful for you on your end, but like I said, anytime I can get on here and anywhere and talk about the NWTF or turkey hunting, I'm happy to do it.
No, I've had a blast, man. I appreciate you being understanding and things. So we always have a good time on here, and we like to get on here and just cut up. So everybody, thanks for listening this evening. Be sure to check us out on the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls on our Facebook page. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcast, we're there. So give us a subscribe, give us a review, give us a listen. Let us know some things that you'd like to hear on our podcast, and give us some comments there and some feedback. So we appreciate everybody for listening. And Davy, thanks again, sir, for your time.
Hey, Michael, thank you for letting me be a guest on here. And like I said, talk about the NWTF and turkey hunting, man. I love it.
Yep. Spring gobbler season is just around the corner, and it's fast approaching. So everybody, thanks for listening. And remember, take a youth hunting. This segment of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by AMG Network Hosting, LLC, a national independent agent for most major telecommunication service providers. If your business is in need of internet, phones, credit card processing, let AMG Hosting help you compare options. They work with over 100 national carriers, and they can help you choose the best option for your needs. Our independence means we are loyal to our customers, not a brand or a company. Call us today at 304-608-3653 or visit us at amgnhconsulting.com. amgnhconsulting.com. Phone number again is 304-608-3653. AMG Network Hosting, LLC.